everybody. My name is Michelle the Bookworm, and for this week's video is kind of a sequel to a video that I've done before. So before, about a year ago, back when I was just a little baby booktuber, I did a video that was comparing hard copy books to audiobooks and the pros and cons of that. Now I have an e-reader. I've had my e-reader for about a week now, and I've been able to play around with it and see the features and really get to experience it. So now, I'm not going to go over anything really. I'm not going to go over all the content of my book versus audiobook video, just because you've already seen that, but I am going to compare certain points to my e-reader that I have and just kind of talk about the pros and cons of that. So what I have here, I have my Lord of the Rings book and my audiobook and my e-reader. So we're kind of just going to weigh the pros and cons of all three. I'm going to mainly talk about my Kindle Paperwhite. I got my Kindle Paperwhite about a week ago, and as I go along, I'm going to compare it to the hard copies and the audiobooks as I go. The first pro that I have for the Kindle Paperwhite is that it's good for traveling. I can put all my books in one place, and it's really small, so this is very pocket-sized. I can just carry this around with me. I can carry it in my purse. So it can go wherever I go. As for the reading experience, it has a very surprisingly long life. I fully charged it on Tuesday night, and it only went down 23% over 2 days, which is it's about like 10% a day. It's really not bad. One reason why I'm really excited about this is that it has a brightness feature where I can adjust the brightness so that I can read. So if I go to settings, I can adjust the brightness, and it makes it so that I can read at night, which is really, really awesome because my boyfriend Gordy tends to go to bed a little bit earlier than I do. I like to stay up late and read, and before I had to go do that in the living room, and because I had to have a light on. Now I can just turn up my brightness and read while he's sleeping, which is awesome. I also like to annotate my books a lot. I am an English major, so in college I learned to annotate books, and a lot of times that does ruin books. Even though I tend to annotate in pencil, it does, ruin my books. It's hard to fully get those marks out. So now there's actually a way that you can highlight passages in here and make notes on that passage, which I think is a really, really cool feature, and it doesn't hurt anything. I can delete it, I can go back to it. It's awesome. Another thing that I like is that it automatically saves your place. I can't tell you how frustrating it is when I come back to a book and just to find out that the bookmark fell out or got taken out. And then you have to spend like 5-10 minutes like trying to find your place again. It's particularly difficult if you haven't gone back to that book in a while. So the fact that it automatically saves your place is phenomenal. The next feature that I really like about this is that you can adjust the font size. So I really like to try to take care of my eyes. I know, like, I do wear glasses. I don't wear them while filming, but I do use them, and I want to try to keep them for as long as I can. And so being able to adjust the font size, especially for like the really tiny font, is really, really nice. Another feature that I really, really like about the Kindle Paperwhite is that it automatically connects to my Goodreads. So it tells me what percentage I am through the book. So I can just automatically update my progress to my Goodreads and actually write the review through my Kindle, which is super convenient. Like, I don't have to go on my phone or anything or on the computer. As soon as I'm done with the book, I can just go ahead and write my Goodreads review, which is really, really awesome. I love that. And the percentage makes it so easy because there's this feature in Goodreads where you can either make it save your progress, like you're either this percentage of the way through or this many pages of the way through. And with the Kindle, I can just use percentage and not have to calculate anything, which is really, really awesome. Another feature that this has that I think is going to I may or may not use it, I'm not sure yet. It does have Audible, so I can listen to audiobooks on this. I do tend to use my phone for that, because honestly, I think that as portable as this is, I think this is way more portable. I can just stick this in my back pocket. Um, but I can potentially listen to audiobooks on this, which is very, very nice. Another pro about the e-reader is ebooks are cheaper than hard copy books. I looked online and the 50th edition of the Lord of the Rings 3 books box set, I just looked at this specifically because I wanted to, it was something that was both on a Kindle and an actual book set. The hard copies were $44, whereas the ebook was $29.97. So it's actually, I know like a lot of that, a lot of the cost for the hard copy is printing, but I mean the ebook's just cheaper and it's the same, reading, it's the same book. So now that we've gone over all the pros of having an e-reader, I'm kind of going to go over some of the more neutral things that I found that I both liked and didn't like. Um, First is the size. So I was really surprised when I first got this ebook about how small it was. I thought it was going to be bigger for some reason, and it's just so tiny. Like I've never read a book that's this size. I'm usually reading books that are, you know, even just cover-wise, like at least a third bigger. Like, I'm used to reading an actual book-sized book. So handling this is kind of awkward. Um, it feels too small in my hand. And I feel like this is I've already lost this once or twice, like just inside the crack between my wall and my bed. So I feel like that might be an issue. It's just like this thing just getting lost. Um, on the plus side to having it this size, I can travel with this, no problem. Lot harder to travel with this. This is very big, very bulky. This is pocket sized. This can fit in my purse. Big books, if I wanted to have a big book, it's not cumbersome. I can just be reading a large book, and it's still big book, small book, it's all the same size. Another neutral opinion that I have of an e-reader is you can't tell how big the book is. I'm not gonna lie, finishing The Lord of the Rings, finishing all of this was extremely satisfying. It was extremely satisfying to say, yeah, I read a book that is over 1,000 pages long. And also, just walking around with like this big book in your hands, I don't know. It's kind of nice. Like you have all this knowledge and you can feel all this knowledge, and they're just more satisfying. However, um, I don't know about you, but I read a lot of classic literature, And sometimes just the absolute size of the classic novel, especially if I'm not really enjoying it, um, can be a little daunting. I remember reading the Odyssey, and it was a huge, thick book. And sometimes it was just, I had to muscle my way through it, and I'd look at how big it is and just sigh because I knew how much I had to go through. So possibly, um, having having a bigger book in a smaller package, not as intimidating. Like, you can just read a couple pages and you're not overwhelmed with the size of the book. You can just read it for fun. So next, I'd like to talk about some of the cons that I found with having an e-reader. Um, the first one, I'm going to keep it with the categories, is for traveling. My goal is to travel eventually and be able to have my books with me. That's one of the biggest reasons why I got this. And when I bought this, it started out with 32 gigabytes of space. Now it only has 26.76 gigabytes after only downloading 2 books, 1 audiobook, and it has the Kindle's user guide, and it also has 47 dictionaries because I think that that's very important. But I don't think, I mean, that may sound like a lot, but I have over 100 books in my spare bedroom. And so I'm kind of wondering, how am I going to fit all that onto here? It's not going to hold all of my books. It's just not going to. So I'm going to have to get an external memory for this. And I looked online, and they do have them. They do have an external memory so I can hold all of my books, but that's more money and something else I'm going to have to keep track of. So that is it was a little frustrating. Another con that I found about having an e-reader is that it does have a battery life. Um, Books obviously don't. Audiobooks do. It's dependent on your cell phone battery life. And even though it took, um, when I first got this Kindle, it took 2 days of it just leaving it on, um, for it to fully die, and it was at 57%. So I'm guessing that this would last about a week. Um, and I also left it open. I didn't really take care of the battery, just because I wanted to see how long it would last. I fully charged this Thursday. Yeah, Thursday. And and I've been reading it a whole lot, and it's now at 37%. So it does have a long battery life, but it also has a battery life. And I'm not super adamant about plugging things in all the time. I don't really necessarily think about that. So there could be a point when I really want to finish that book, and I'm gonna have to wait for it to charge. And that could be, a little frustrating. Another con that I have about an e-reader is just, in comparison to an audiobook, but like a book, um, it's sedentary. You can't multitask. The one thing I like about having an audiobook is that I can plug it in my ears and go about and go do something. I'm hands free, but with an audiobook, it's in your hands and you have to sit down and read it. That's just kind of a preference, I suppose, between people who listen to, I guess it's like people who listen to audiobooks versus someone who wants to read. Um, it kind of just depends on, what you're doing. Do you want to lay down and relax? Or do you have stuff to do and you just want to have something to listen to? Another thing that I don't necessarily um, that I prefer books over this, or books or audiobooks over an e-reader, is that you can't take this in the bath. I mean, you could, theoretically, but there is no way I am going to take my e-reader in the bath with me so I can read. It is so expensive that I don't even want it anywhere near water. I am not taking that chance. Um, so audiobooks is way better for this, and books that I own, not books from the library, are also can be better for this, but this is not going anywhere near my bathroom. Another con that I have about this specific Kindle Paperwhite is the reading features. You have to buy all of your books through Amazon. One thing I've always loved, and one thing that I really like about the book reading community, is that you read a book, you really enjoy it, and you gift it to a friend, or you let somebody borrow it, and then you kind of have that reading experience together. Um, with a Kindle, you can't do that. You can't loan somebody your book, um, which I guess maybe I'm just a little old-fashioned, but that's something that I really enjoy doing. Is I love taking a book, going, oh my gosh, this book is perfect for my friend Amy or whoever. I think she'd really, really love it, and loaning out that book. And you just don't get that experience with an e-reader. The final con that I have for the Kindle Paperwhite and e-readers in general is the cost. Um, this Kindle Paperwhite cost $175 with the Kindle itself and the cover, and I got a black charger with it. That's pretty expensive, and not everyone's going to want to spend $175 when they could buy a book for, $5 on Amazon. Um, I so a lot of people aren't going to want to fork out that kind of money. And on top of that, I'm going to have to buy an external hard drive just to support all of the books that I have, and I'm not even sure how much that's going to be. That's probably going to be another $30 or something. So we're looking at, something that's over $200, versus just buy, and on top of that, you have to actually buy the books. So it is pretty expensive. Um, and it's definitely not for everybody. So overall, this is just my overall thoughts about owning a Kindle. Um, I feel like this is a good buy for me because this is just kind of represents where I'm at in my life right now. I'm young. I want to travel. I want to go explore the world. I don't really want to carry around all those, materialistic possessions, but I do want the comfort of having those books with me. I'm an avid reader, and I really just want that comfort of being able to sit down and read a good book wherever I'm at. Um, if I were settled, you bet I'm going to have a huge, giant bookshelf with I'm going to have a huge bookcase where all my books are going to be organized, and it's going to be beautiful and pretty, and that's eventually the dream, is to have a nice big bookcase with all of my knickknacks, and all my books are organized, and they have someplace to go aside from totes in my spare bedroom. But that's not where I'm at in life right now. Where I'm at in life is um, traveling, adventure, and the Kindle gives me the freedom to not be tied down to worldly possessions. Eventually, I'm going to get rid of all those books in my spare bedroom because I can't take them with me, but I can take this with me. And so I guess my suggestion is just wherever you're at in life, choose the medium that's right for you. Right now, this is what's right for me. I have a friend who right now she's a mom. Audiobooks is the only thing she can do. I have another friend who, they're an avid reader and they're settled. They have a huge giant bookshelf. And so for that, I'm just pick which medium is right for you. There's no right one. There's just the right style, and you have to decide that for yourself. I know a lot of people have this very adamant, strong feeling about, paperback books, and I think that comes from a fear that one day we might not have paperback books. We're kind of going towards the way of technology. Um, but I think that honestly, the important thing is that you're still reading, that you're still exercising your mind, and that you're still giving yourself that time to relax with a good book in whatever form it comes in. All right, so that is my take on my new e-reader. And I guess my end of the video question is, where are you at in life right now? What medium is your favorite and why? Let me know in the comment below, and I'll see you again soon. Bye!